Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to LEGO City Undercover. Is that the name of this game? So let's continue. We're about to start level, I believe, 13 or 14 of 15. And it seems like we're going to just speed through to the end of the game. We're in this UFO device that was built by the professor. I guess maybe I'm supposed to jump down. No, you press Y and it lands directly on this helipad. So we've landed to Forest Blackwell's area, secret area. And you can see there's super bricks over here. Forest Blackwell's men are guarding the mansion, finding out a way in. They spawned some studs, pointing me to go this way. I guess I'm not quite in a mission yet, but I imagine we will be rather quickly. I have to kind of remember that the jetpack is a thing that we just got, so micro stutter there. So I guess we will spend the vast majority. Now look at this, there's no recovery if you fall down. We are at score multiplier times 48, by the way. And that's what you get when you multiply 2 by 4 by 6. Which is how the score multipliers, the stud multipliers work. LEGO games never really did figure out whether they wanted to have a tight control over calling it a score or a stud. Multipliers. Some LEGO games have definitely called it stud times 2. Some games have definitely called it score times 2. So these are, depending on the cutscenes I've seen, either actual robots or just the jokingly depicted as Agent Smiths from the Matrix. Alright. There was 2 more. And then we'll have to do our final grapple on this guy. That was a times 10 multiplier on the battle. Does that really change much? No, not really. It might ever so slightly cause, like, who is Tim Welch? Yeah, the score, the battle times 10 might be increasing the amount of studs I'm getting by 10. I don't know if that would be times 10 times 48, or and there's no way to open that door for shortcut access. Take note, here's another sequence where it's just like the stairs are completely copy pasted. There's no Lego pieces here at all. Something could have been done. It's almost as if they embrace this mentality that if something's made of Lego, you immediately take that to mean that it is destructible, and I guess that's kind of true, but there have definitely been LEGO games where something was built out of Lego and it wasn't destructible. Like this control panel.
You can open it?
This control panel's not really made out of Lego pieces. That handle's not made out of Lego pieces.
There you go.
Well, I could have done that. Blackwell's mansion is huge. We should split up.
Yes. Good luck, Chase.
So it seems like the we're trying to say rescue Natalia. So this is special assignment 14 of 15. 2 more levels. This one and the next one. The previous level was rather long and big. So if they're saying the mansion is huge, that implies to me that there's gonna be a large level here. Which, if anything, I would kind of want to see the the entirety of the Lego levels getting shorter, or perhaps just leave them at a consistent length throughout the entirety of the game. I think consistent length would be probably the best thing to strive for. Although I guess a lot of that is just going to boil down to your level of enjoyment in any particular Lego game. If I was playing Lego Star Wars and I was at the last level and it was huge, I probably wouldn't complain. Any more than I generally criticize and complain about everything. But the fact that this game has been particularly poorly received by me puts it in a different category than every previous Lego game I've played. Is it worthwhile to pull out the jackhammer and try and do this? This might be a little bit easier. Play that way. We're still a little low on things, Lego bricks for building super brick things.
I hope all the security means Natalia's nearby.
Let's see. The jackhammer stuff doesn't seem like it really can hurt the bad guys in any way. It's probably easiest to just get rid of these guys now. I don't need to worry one bit about collecting studs. It's just them being on the screen can be
A silver
a hassle.
statue and a giant letter B. Subtle and classy, Blackwell. Whoa, it's like he paid Frank to do his wiring.
See what this does. Up until that point, drilling has, I think, only revealed water. I guess I really hadn't given any consideration to it, but the fact that the miner is the only one who can use dynamite does make some like canonical logical sense. Like, you really wouldn't want a farmer using
That's just
dynamite.
Weird. What's weird is I kind of wanted to play on that slide.
The way this story's been told, I don't feel like there can be a big twist here, so putting a playground is putting writing into a dangerous situation where Blackwell might be humanized when the level of writing that could possibly go on here is really closer to just a mustache twirling villain. If this was intentionally supposed to be just a setup for a Lego cartoon, a Lego City cartoon, then maybe it makes sense to personalize all these characters. But the game doesn't really solve that problem for any of the other characters, so I don't know why it would do that for Blackwell. Like, as I understand the plot, which is to say I barely understand the plot because it's not really getting enforced well. Forrest Blackwell had a construction deal fall through because he failed to do an ecological impact survey of Blackwell Forest, which they didn't say that phrase, ecological impact survey, but I'll just throw it out there for educational purposes. Let's try one of these and just see if this does something. No, it just gives us studs. So I guess I'm fine here. Maybe we'll blow up that later on. So because he didn't realize that there was a rare squirrel, now squirrels are rodents, and I don't think any forest in particular would be too upset with rodents being killed, but sure, it's slightly believable that losing squirrels would perhaps impact the ecosystem enough to impact other creatures. It's totally believable that a rare eagle or hawk that in a forest might live or eat a significant amount of squirrels, so if you got rid of the squirrels. Now I would probably argue that constructing even a giant construction complex or a mall in the middle of a forest would probably not affect the squirrel population anywhere as much as it would. How do I go back? You hold A on the mini cars. The way these drive is so bad. Like it's completely different from the way you drive a car. It just goes forward when you start moving the left and right stick. You'll have to hold A to go backwards. It is so narrow here. I don't think I can make it to the other side, so I was thinking maybe if I drove that into the fountain it would blow up, but clearly not. Yeah, I think squirrels would be fine if you built a construction area. In the same sense that squirrels, we've for decades built cities, and squirrels are fairly fine and thriving in cities. As long as your houses have even a small amount of trees around them. The bigger impact of stripping down the national forest would be affecting the trees and the other wildlife that live in the cover of the trees. Bears and leopards and things like that would be way more impacted by construction because nobody freaks out and calls animal control or shoots at a squirrel running around their backyard. Everybody freaks out if a bear is running around their backyard. Wolves would be heavily impacted if a forest was constructed. So their joke of it affecting a squirrel is not particularly educational. Like, there's been at least 3 instances here where you could be more accurate and more realistic, but they went for a joke, which is understandable. Like, LEGO games certainly have gone for the joke before. I guess that also is part of the problem that you run into. Geez, how would I get up there? I guess with the hover bike. When you're playing like a LEGO Star Wars game, you are in a completely different universe, so it doesn't feel as important to have any kind of accuracy there. It's like these are retracted roofs and then they're gonna get expanded some other way. These guys are down there. So this will be an interesting opportunity to see if we can just ignore people and finish the level. I assume at some point we're gonna drain the pool. Just throw 3 guys in the pool and they'll break apart immediately. That's a considerably faster fight than what it could have been. A micro stutter in the animation. It's the swirling animation that's doing it. The little sparkles. Like, seriously, if I could just go into it, to LEGO games, and mod out some of the visual effects, the swirling, the fire effects, if I could mod them out, or if somebody way smarter than me could replace them with less impactful effects, I think all the micro stuttering would be solved. That being said, my backup is done, which is to say it failed. Windows 7 and 8's backup, Windows 10 backup is really nothing. It's like this file history setup as far as I can tell. But using the old form of the backup seems to want to make system images, which is just like a large file that has a exact image copy of your hard drives, and that's just too big in modern times to work. It just screws up. Could be partly because I'm connecting to a network server that I run and the network server is not configured quite right. That might be the problem, but yeah, so I'm gonna have I had to change that settings. Doesn't mean that the backup won't work, but you have to just back up the individual files, not a giant file of it. It's kind of redundant anyways to make a giant file of everything and make individual backup files. It's also the problem with recovery, and this is what like people really rarely ever do anything with when you're backing up a computer, and I'm talking about backing up computers instead of LEGO because nothing is going on right now, is the problem with backing up files is if you do need to recover the files, you're going to have probably a large hassle there. You almost certainly don't want to just have to recover everything, unless you're running into a ransomware situation where all your files have been encrypted or lost, or a failed hard drive situation where everything has been lost. More often than not, you'll have a file that was deleted, an individual one that was deleted that you want to recover or changed. And a system image would do you really no good there. You'd have to have an extra hard drive big enough to restore your entire computer to that extra hard drive. Point. This is weird. I have to remind myself we have this, so there might be some level of height we run into. That's why the new Windows 10 file history kind of makes more sense if you are just trying to back up files and not trying to back up everything, which probably for my cases, since I'm mostly playing video games, having just backups of the save files of the games and the videos I record of covering the games is good enough. It would be probably a week's worth of work to reinstall Windows if I had to, and reinstall the game if I had to get to that point. But there might also be some advantages of a good old-fashioned reinstalling of Windows. I don't feel like you really need to do that as much as it used to be. It used to get down to the point where you had to install so many antiviruses and registry cleaners for Windows 95, Windows 2000 to just kind of keep it working. And half of those programs would potentially screw things up worse. So you would eventually, after a couple of years, be better off just reinstalling the entire operating system. We still don't have this ability, so you're totally going to have to play the every level twice. Once Rex Fury is unlocked, and seems pretty likely that Rex Fury is not going to unlock until the end of the game. Having some micro stuttering issues, probably because of the fire elements up here and the swapping elements. It's ridiculous that I'm fairly certain I've identified the problem with these LEGO games, and they just have not bothered to fix them at all. Suppose if I was infinitely wealthy, one of the things I might try to do is build a counter PC, which is not a PC built into a counter, which would also be an interesting build, but a gaming PC that would, instead of using NVIDIA graphics, which is what I would prefer to use and think has been the right choice for a long time now, and Intel GPUs, CPUs, make one that runs off AMD and ATI technology, just in case, in particular for games like this that are designed to be games. That didn't work. These games were designed to be on consoles. Both consoles are using ATI graphics cards. As for the CPUs in the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, I think they're kind of custom Intel things, but it really shouldn't matter. Like, frankly, none of that should matter because it's using the DirectX calls. It's not like these games are being programmed on some kind of bare metal OpenGL standard or the Vulkan standard. They're using DirectX, and so DirectX should be the middleman to communicate between an ATI video card and an NVIDIA video card, and both should work. And that's part of the weirdness of why this micro stuttering only happens in Resident Evil games and LEGO games, and I've yet to see a third game from any other series do it. Like, I've run into games that have problems, sure. Plenty of games crash and have issues, but never had anything that just consistently has such terrible frame pacing that it enters the realm of what I'm calling micro stuttering. But that would be weird too, certainly, to have two computers where one you play 99% of the games on, and then the other is your backup just in case something doesn't work on the other one. What's this? Why is the texture changing? Why would the texture change when I swap to the criminal guy or the fireman? That's ridiculous. That makes no sense at all. It's like there's nothing the fireman or the criminal would be able to do with those. That feels like an old graphics programming technique where they only had a certain number of sprites available to them, so they had to cheat. Maybe that is exactly what's going on. Or it's just a weird glitch. We're also having some kind of weird lighting glitch somewhat over here on the plant, so we were for a second there. The matrix kick there is a hassle. And we've got a phone call.
Chase, I'm outside Blackwell Tower. Looks like most of LEGO City's here too.
Woohoo! Party! Put your talk back on, honey. You're still on duty.
Listen, I still haven't managed to get through to Natalia.
That's because Blackwell has her. Natalia's dad's a scientist who was refusing to help Blackwell build some kind of shield thing, so Blackwell used Natalia as leverage. Long story short, your dog probably didn't get walked today.
Wow. Okay, well, the conference won't be starting for a while. They put up this giant electronic countdown.
Well, that's not ominous. Once I find something, I'll call you.
I'm still not sure what the shield's gonna do. Like, is it just going to trap all of LEGO City in a shield? As Indiana Jones's hat on there. This would have been a nice area for an Indiana Jones level. And there's the diamond, which seems like it was stolen for no real reason. Let me guess, it's gonna go right to this book, and then we're gonna pull that book.
Nothing happened. Maybe there's another switch.
That's why I'm not allowed in libraries anymore.
There's a target. So we're grappling hook targeting this. Where's the third target? There it is. So this lets me get up here, which lets me get up here, which does nothing. Okay. Guess we're looking for maybe some explosives. So we can't do anything with this. Doesn't seem like we're gonna get the explosives to blow up this yet, or maybe not at all in the story playthrough of this. So light shines through the emerald gem, and I guess we now are going to be able to blow up things. Oops, hit the wrong button. We'll have to do that again. Hit A instead of B. This area alone would have been a fine level by itself. Like, yeah, I kind of wish LEGO games would just be one continuous story and abandon the true hero part so much, or at least the experience in the first playthrough should be continuous and just not show you any of the
Sorry.
resolution
But it looks like
elements.
I found Forrest Blackwell's secret. He's a model-making nerd.
He is an evil genius. This is his plan.
He's gonna make a
Look,
moon base.
This is my phase polarity, my magic bubble. He means to fly to the moon.
How? The shuttle on Apollo Island isn't big enough for all his cronies. And you can't exactly hide a giant rocket in LEGO City. The countdown! Blackwell Tower! Ellie, you have to get everyone away from Blackwell Tower. Now!
Okay, but why?
Blackwell Tower is a rocket. When it takes off, it'll fry everything within 10 blocks.
Has you
Sending
know
evidence.
10 blocks.
Right. Everyone, you need to clear the area!
Look, we don't have long, but we may be able to help.
How?
I'll tell you on the way.
This is a oddly useful plan. Like, in all honesty, okay, Attract Bricks used to be called Brick Magnet. Although maybe Attract Bricks is different than Attract Studs. Stud Magnet. We may get both. Being able to attract bricks is more useful. So yeah, all of these recap roundup scenes here, if all of that was missing and it just always continued the story and said and kind of had a save system where at any point you could save and exit the game and you would just return back to that point. We know the games have instances already, so they're at least halfway towards programming save states where they could just save
Chase,
all of the
I'm going
memory
to Blackwell Tower.
in the
I
RAM
need you
and
to go to my building
and
in
everything
Auburn
going
Docks.
on.
Okay. What am I doing?
I just said you're going to my building in Auburn Docks.
And when I get there?
I have working prototypes of the magic bubble machine there. They're in my laboratory.
What are you gonna do with them?
I'm going to invert the polarity
This door's
of the
just gonna
neutron
open magically.
I'm going to tell the mystical pixies that live inside there.
I'm not an idiot, Professor. Are you gonna use the magic bubble to contain the rocket's exhaust?
Yes, exactly.
And what if you can't?
Then I'm going to get a very good tan.
Yeah, the door just opens for them. So call in. We could unlock a cloud vehicle for 100,000 studs, but it's still a good idea not to do that, so we'll just call in the helicopter. Which, this was the hospital helicopter, I believe, and it's hurting itself. Okay. And clearly this is an example of we'd like to be able to fly over, but we really can't because we'll get thrown. So we need to determine where we are and what is the best way to reach where we're supposed to go. Over here? Alright. So I feel like these sections here are underwater panels. So best case scenario, I think is probably to just fly around the city. And we have a timer going, and that means I've already lost. 3 minutes and 50 seconds to get around the city. Unless we find a low-lying section like this. I guess this is a low-lying section.
I'm at Blackwell Tower, Chase. Have you got to my lab?
Not yet.
Then drive faster! This is a matter of life and, you know, the other thing. Oh, and your chief has dispatched another officer to help you when you get there. We're going to need more shield generators than I first thought.
So yeah, we're just flying
Hurry up,
around
Chase.
mostly
You
over
need
the
to get
ocean.
to my lab.
And it seems like we're getting those video calls, which I'm not accepting. They're just playing automatically at specific times or specific distances. So if we had...
Quickly, Chase. Everything depends on you.
It's like every 10 seconds we're getting one of these. And or every bit of distance we're... Now, can you just land or hop out? Seems like you can jump out. Timer's still going, by the way. We can come over here and we should do attract bricks. There we go, turn that on. Notice it is not attracting studs. Still with riding the horse backwards gag.
Chase,
Frank,
who else would they trust with such an important mission?
literally anyone.
I believe this is
You're
the
so
area
funny.
we started at. This is like very, very close to where we started the game. Like, we ran around this building a lot and it had the HK logo on it, and I thought that was the police. So that's weird. We've gone full circle, and I think that's the intention there, is to say that we've gone for full circle. And we can, I guess, run around here and try and figure out how much more of this there's to do. There's paint guns we're finding, certainly. These aren't anything? Or maybe they're just piles of where bricks would be. Yeah, it's strange to say the least that these levels are
Chase,
oddly
although it was impossible to get into Blackwell Tower,
30
I've
minutes
managed
to
hack
45
into their
minutes
launch
to an hour
computer
long.
and slow it down slightly. You don't have long though.
Don't worry, I'm at your laboratory.
Good. Then drive the shield prototypes here as fast as you can. And drive carefully.
Okay, I could definitely do one of those things.
I guess it's probably not a fair complaint to say that all games should have 20-minute or fewer bespoke missions or actions, but it certainly is the way I think you should design for kids games. When you look at Super Mario 64, or more recently by far Super Mario Odyssey, you have a collection of stars, and collecting one star at most is going to take 20 minutes in any level. I don't think any of them really take more than that. So if LEGO did embrace a more open world gameplay only and got rid of these 3D level design stuff, which they've never been successful at actually abandoning that, because it makes what they replace it with is just
McCain,
not
I'm
that
with
good.
Kowalski. And where are you?
I'm about halfway there, Chief.
Not good enough. This thing's getting ready to launch. Find the accelerator and don't take your foot off of it.
It's surprising that the chief believes you. He's been
Chase,
poorly
you need to get here
characterized.
faster. I cannot stop the countdown.
I'm driving as recklessly as I can, Professor.
I'm not driving that recklessly. Yeah. Had I played LEGO Marvel Superheroes and just done the open world and none of the story level, I would have found it a much poorer game. So, LEGO games are kind of in this... They've painted themselves in this corner because what they've been delivering for decades, at least a decade now, is so familiar and recognizable that they can't change the formula and make something different. And I'm sure that might even apply to like the Apple Arcade game LEGO Brawlers that just released as of this recording. Is
I'll come back and give you my insurance details later.
we're getting rumbling. I went the wrong direction. There we go. 25 seconds. 22 seconds. Barely made it.
Drive to the marker. It will automatically position one of the magic bubble machines for you. I should probably have mentioned they're in self-assembly kit form, so you will need to build them. I'm too busy slowing the countdown.
Now, if it shows us a timer countdown, I bet it never slows down or goes backwards. There's a weirdness here in the fact that we have
Hey, Chase,
3 minutes.
The professor told me to wait here and not touch anything. Oh man, look! It's all in pieces. That happened to me when I bought that painting. But then the guy at the store explained it was actually a jigsaw puzzle. I managed to put it together, but it took ages because the picture was of the color brown. Then I turned it over and someone had painted a load of kittens on the back of it, just like they had in the box it came in.
So I guess the idea in the story is these really are robots, but LEGO has made robot minifigs before. I'm pretty sure they could have done something here to make it something look more robotic than just a Matrix Agent Smith. Or they should have had a big reveal saying that they were robots and showing that they were robots earlier in the game. Because I'm still not certain. Like, I'm still not 100% certain these are supposed to be robots. And I do have to fight all these guys because they're just gonna punch me and slow down my progress. It's bad foreshadowing that we've never done anything with this building. We've never driven around it. We've never appeared from it. Maybe, just maybe we the other one stands up. Like, maybe we picked up Forrest Blackwell from this building in that mission where we drove him to the opera, or the play. But that's kind of all we did, and we didn't get a good camera fly around showing us that this building was important, or this was the biggest building in the city, or anything like that. So you have this major element, which, again, this also feels a lot like LEGO Batman 2, where the Wayne Tower was the biggest tower in all of Arkham, and you had to go through several levels climbing up it, and I assume that's what's going to happen, is we're going to end up climbing to the top of it.
evacuated all the citizens. I hope you set up those things right, McCain.
Me too.
So
There's no way we'll get to a safe distance now, and I don't do well in the heat.
I do.
Honey, that rocket's flame is gonna be burning at 3,000 degrees.
That is hot. I better take off my jacket.
How long do we have, Professor?
About -3 seconds.
That wouldn't be -3 seconds. -3 seconds would be it happened 3 seconds ago.
Chase,
They're confusing,
when I hacked into their
like,
computers,
T minus.
I saw that Natalia was on board.
What? That was good work, Chase.
He is talking to me, right?
You've saved a lot of lives today, and I'm a big enough man to admit when I've made a mistake. Or two. Which is still a lot less than you've made.
Thanks, Chief. Mayor Gleason, I need a favor.
For the man who just stopped Lego City being destroyed? Name it.
I still have some people I need to arrest.
I'll call Apollo Island right away. I think they've got a shuttle they can lend you.
Oh, shotgun!
So it would almost be funny if there was an alternate take where it did blow up Lego City in the bonus level. That would be kind of funny, as you set off the rocket and it just destroys everything else in the level and breaks it down into studs. Far above the Call of Duty.
Professor Kowalski, don't worry. I'm going to get Natalia back.
Thank you, Chase. Is there anything I can do to help you?
I guess it'd be useful if I knew
Again,
how to
it
fly a
randomly
shuttle.
put
Can
me
you
in
give
a
me
different
crash course so I don't
outfit than what I was in.
crash?
No need. The engineers at Apollo Island will fly it by remote control.
What about
They
Blackwell's
should just
one?
put me in the
I'll have to get
default
it back to Lego
outfit
City.
every level.
Oh, you can cross that bridge
Just
if you
always
come to
start
it.
me
If
Sorry,
in the default
when.
outfit.
I meant when.
That would have been a good way to characterize Chase in particular, is if we just always started as Chase, and I don't even think is this Chase. Like, how does this play? Let's see, if I choose this and then nope, tap, nope. There's a way to switch disguises, but I guess you have
This
to go
way,
over
sir.
here.
We're getting the rocket ready right now.
Yeah. They really needed me to go back to Chase McCain after a certain point and get out of the undercover element. And there's this other character, Grace Makepeace. I guess she's the female equivalent, in case you wanted to play as a female character, which is nice, but the game really never told me about that. So you start with the canonical Chase character. Where are we as far as characters? Like, not really. I haven't purchased anything, so that is inherently the problem with a lot of LEGO games, is that you can play as a bunch of minifigs, but you really wouldn't unlock them until you were already done with the game. At the point, then there's kind of no reason why you would want to actually play them, play the game anymore. Apparently there's a small selection of miners we're gonna have to unlock, and a slightly larger selection of astronauts, and a, I guess, medium selection of farmers, small selection of firefighters, and about a medium selection of construction workers. So not really a ton of people even compared. But unlike LEGO Star Wars, where every single character very possibly could be a favorite character for people who were familiar with the series, all the minifigs in this game are just made up LEGO minifig characters. Unless the Lego City cartoon came out way before this game came out, and kids have watched that series. And even if that was the case, I still don't feel like this is kid friendly enough. Like the humor and the writing in this still feels inappropriate in 2 or 3 sections. Maybe you can just roll your eyes and turn a blind eye to that if you want to, but as a parent, but then the games, this is like one of the worst Lego games as far as just the level design and what to do in the story. Yeah, you have so many better options. Speaking of options, or extras in this case, it seems like there's no way we're gonna find 39 red bricks in total. So something has to happen that gives us a lot more red bricks. And it couldn't just be that we have to enter the codes. So there must be a ton of them in the open world, which means we really need the red brick detector. Yeah, we have unlocked but not purchased 49 of 305 minifig characters. We've gotten 12 out of 15 true Lego City heroes, which that won't be a problem. We'll get all 15 of those very easily because of our score stud multiplier. We've unlocked only 19 of 120 vehicles, so there's a ton of vehicle missions, and I feel like the vehicle car theft missions in the open world will be particularly the hardest in the game because they will require us to do long chase sequences or take the car from point A to point B, whereas everything else in the open world will just be, can you get to a certain height platform, can you scan something, can you find a clue, can you blow up a statue, things like that. We have 69 of 450 gold bricks, and that number will just increase. And storyline wise, we're almost done. Next recording will be the end of the storyline, and it'll be maybe a more relaxed, just running around the city. Honestly, once we're doing the open world stuff, there's probably a lot less to complain about because you're not running into disappointing storyline. It'll just be random events and padding and grinding, which that's really what all the Lego games get down to. And I don't think that should not be in Lego games. I think the value proposition per hour makes a lot of sense for a kids game more than it does for a AAA adult game. Adults have money to buy games. Even perpetually broke YouTubers tend to have enough money to buy games, whereas kids, maybe they're just getting birthday money and Christmas money, and that game has to last them for 6 months to a year. So yeah, I definitely wouldn't get rid of the grinding in a Lego game, but maybe I would get rid of the storyline level stuff, particularly if I don't have some kind of license or story that's already written for me, because clearly TT Fusion at least does not know how to write their own story and make their own game from scratch. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.